Welcome on back, everyone. The Markarth patch has dropped on ESO, and with it, we finally are free of the AoE test period that has been going on for quite some time in this game. And one of the big things that really excited me about Markarth was just pretty much being able to play the builds that I wanted to play again. As unfortunately, during the testing period, a huge array of abilities, some that you wouldn't even think would count as AoE skills, were not really usable. So it was tough to play anything other than a single target Nightblade build, to be perfectly honest. So it was a very exciting time for me to finally be able to play my max health Templar build that I've been itching to play on the live server, and I'm just teasing this build a little bit for you guys. Of course, I will be showing you guys some more footage of it and a build video in the future. But that being said, the lag has been pretty bad. I mean, it's just as bad as it was during the test period, I think. You know, during these AoE test performance changes, I played even during the time when they had cooldowns, increasing cost, and limited group size, and I still found the server to be quite laggy, even when it wasn't even close to the full mark. And of course, as you guys can see here, the lag has not gone away with the addition of the Markarth patch. We're getting at least 2 to 3 seconds of skill delay if the server is full. I mean, at that point, I don't really see the point in playing much PvP whatsoever, at least not when the server is at its full capacity. Now, that being said, we did get a lot of new PvE content with Markarth, and I know a lot of people are going to enjoy that, and I myself am going to be diving into some of the Markarth PvE stuff because, you know, I have an itch for those quests. Now, something that was unfortunately added with Markarth was this new light attack bug. Unfortunately, if you're using a ranged light attack that takes time to reach its target, you cannot cast any skills until your light attack has actually reached the target. So here I'm trying to cancel the Force Pulse, and it's not until I get right up on top of this giant that my Force Pulse will actually be cancelable. And that's simply because the travel time of the projectile is no longer there. Now, this bug, I think, is a huge oversight by ZeniMax. It was something, again, that was reported fairly early on during the testing phase in the PTS, and it is, again, something that made it to the live server regardless of player reporting whatsoever. And I'm not gonna lie, this bug, you know, it has a huge implication on a portion of this game that I think ZeniMax can't really afford to be letting down right now, and that's their PvE player base. PvE DPS, especially ranged DPS, is in complete disarray right now thanks to this bug. And I mean, I'm sure you can still complete the content on your ranged build, but man, having your character locked into holding still is never good, regardless of what kind of combat content you're doing. So unfortunately, I think what's happened is that this takes a lot away from what Markarth is and can be for this game. I mean, ZeniMax is unfortunately shooting themselves in the foot because they're not taking care of how this game runs again, and it's just starting to affect more and more of their player base as time goes on. So if it isn't the lag that's kind of ruining the experience, you're running into bugs that are coming up every single patch because they're not properly vetting these patches or testing them. And quite frankly, for an MMO that's coming up on 6 years old now, there's a complete lack of quality control for this game. And well, it's a shame. It's a shame that we're here. We're looking at the game in the state that it is now, and it's in a pretty bad state everywhere, PvP especially. And the option going forward is either going to be lots of different cooldowns added to the game, which will fundamentally change combat forever, or we're going to see a complete rewrite of how the abilities work, i.e. a complete rebalance of the game from the ground up. And I would imagine it would be focused around a single target meta so that the game doesn't lag because of all the AoE calculations. I think the lesser of the two evils is going to be the rebalance of the game. Putting cooldowns on, I don't think is the right call at all for ESO, but either way, it's definitely a compromise and something that the player base is going to have to compromise on. It's not something that, you know, the company's not having to spend more money or whatever to keep the product the same. It's more like they don't want to spend the money and then change the product to something else so that it's cheaper. And I get it. I mean, they're a company, they want to make money, but you know, a video game is art, and when you do that to art, people don't appreciate it as much anymore. That being said, I'm definitely going to keep playing ESO. I mean, I'm a content creator for ESO, and I worked really hard to get in this position, and just because the game doesn't work properly doesn't mean that when it does, I'm not having fun. I mean, I have to get up at 5 a.m. to get those fights, but, you know, if it's my job, it's totally worth doing And, well, the future looks pretty bright, I think. ESO could perhaps go through some big changes, finally giving us the performance that we're looking for in this game. And if not, there are some really awesome new MMOs coming out that I hope my community would love to come over to and enjoy and play with me as well. Speaking of which, if you guys want to send in your own clips for the top 5 battles, or if you want to send in a build to be featured on the channel, you can send that to KristoferESO@hotmail.com. Give me a follow on Twitter if you guys want to keep up to date with what's going on. And of course, check out my Twitch if you guys want to catch those live streams. You can check out my website, KristoferESO.com, for written guides to all my builds, as well as a hub for all of my ESO content. And then finally, we are sponsored by What the Fast. They're a VPN for gamers. They can give you better ping to your favorite games, free to try for the first month via the link down below. And last but not least, a huge thank you to all of my patrons on Patreon. Without you guys, I wouldn't be able to do this job. So thank you so much for supporting me through these rough times of the game. And of course, everyone, I hope that you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.